Hello, everyone. This is Attorney Gayi, and welcome to this program. Firstly, we need to apologize for the technical difficulties we've had today. So, we are live now, and we again apologize because we've had some difficulties with Zoom, and I'm sure you all might have witnessed this in the past. So, today we are going to talk about cybersecurity in the legal world, which is a very important topic, especially for lawyers. It's a burning topic. And with me today, I have Rahul Dissa, who will be talking about the law in terms of cybersecurity. And I have Emilio, who's a technical expert, who will be talking about the importance of keeping your, your hardware and your software secured. So welcome everyone. And why is this important? Is because a lot of state bar committees are making it mandatory for lawyers to take CLEs. And what you're going to learn here is basically the practical tips of how you can be secured. So this is going to be more like an easy session for people to understand what is cybersecurity. And this particular webinar is brought to you by My Legal Software, a company that deals with basically helping you to protect your software, and the company helps you to have a protected website or to make sure that exactly you are in compliance, basically in terms of cybersecurity from a legal perspective as much as possible. But no one can ever be 100%. But we try our best to update you with what is happening in the legal world in terms of cybersecurity. So Rahul, welcome today, and Emilio, it's a pleasure having you. So Rahul, can you just explain what is cybersecurity, just in layman's terms?
Cybersecurity is basically, any protection that you would offer yourself from, say, data breaches, ransomware, or anybody trying to misuse your digital information or your clients.
All right. So now this is going to be a question and answer session, and later on Emilio will talk. So now, I'm going to dumb this down. So now, anytime when a lawyer has a computer, let's put it that way. Now you leave your computer on. Someone comes in and takes away data. That's a breach by itself. Because your computer did not turn off. And you left the computer, you went away. Someone else comes into your office, gets critical information out. That is a breach of your security measures. Do you agree?
Yes, of course. I mean, it doesn't have to be even, a physical person. It can also be, many people report that, phishing emails are very common ways of getting access to your digital information.
Now, the biggest thing which I've seen about lawyers, they say, you know what, I don't need anything. I have my computer in my house and I don't want to get any tech savvy. You have to have basic knowledge of technology. Doesn't matter. Even if you're ready or no, you have to be ready for this. Because the bottom line is that it's becoming the law in most states for lawyers to become cyber compliant. So you don't have a choice. Now I'll tell you, Rahul, why we don't have a choice. Of course, like even I must say that even I'm scared because there's nothing like perfection in the cyber world. And we're all going to slip something. But our job as lawyers is to make sure that prevention is better than cure. So I'm going to take real life examples where lawyers should be looking at in terms of cybersecurity. Number one is, let's start with your own computer. What does the computer have? It has software. Now, some people need to understand what a software is. A software is something which is included in your hardware. What is your hardware? Hardware means exactly a computer. Like, the computer that you have in your office, the Dell computer, the IBM computer, the Apple Mac, that is known as a hardware. The keyboard is a hardware. Your printer is your hardware. So that is the definition of hardware. Software is when you are going on Microsoft Word, you're using a software. Anything that is included in your hardware is your software, for layman's terms. So people wonder that how can I be hacked? Hacking can happen anywhere if you do not have the proper tools which are embedded in your hardware. That's the easiest way for you to understand. It can happen on your cell phone. What is your cell phone? It is a hardware. Why is it a hardware? Because you're holding it in your hand. It's a physical object. A physical object is the best and the easiest way to define what is a hardware. And in terms of hardware, the bottom line is you maybe have networking. Now, what is networking? networking, you have a secretary in your office, you have a paralegal in your office, and you're telling her, okay, can you finish up the brief of Mr. John Doe? And there's a connectivity between you and between your secretary or your paralegal. So this is known as networking. So one is known as local area networking, LAN, and the second is WAN, which is wide area networking, wherein the network is somewhere else in a different place. So these are the basics that you have to know. I'm dumbing it down as much as possible because I know that information technology and law, they're like two different kind of worlds altogether, and I'm trying to bridge the gap between both of them as much as possible. Rahul, what do you think that I said is correct or no so far?
No, of course it's correct. Yes.
All right. So now take an example that you're sitting on your computer, and now suddenly what happens is that you do not have proper protections on your software. The problem is that if you do not have proper protections, you are vulnerable to phishing attacks. So you know what is phishing, right, Rahul?
Yes, it's an attempt to get your data maliciously
Exactly.
by
And Emilio,
inviting
can
you
you
to
talk about
click
what
on
is a
something and
phishing
provide it
attack?
yourself.
What is a phishing attack?
It would entail, say, anything from, say, an email that has a link in it that causes you to download malware by mistake, or by fooling you into thinking that you're downloading something else instead. Basically, it gets malicious software onto your computer and into your data management.
Now this means you are hacked. Now, after hacking, what can happen is the sad reality for you is that you can lose all the data, number one. And secondly, the personal information of your client is at stake because the information went to someone else. So there's something that needs to be protected, the use of firewalls. So Emilio, can you tell us what is a firewall?
Okay, so firewall is a protection you add in your computer to precisely blocked this kind of unauthorized connections to your computer using ports. I'm gonna wrap it up very simple. So hackers try to enter your computer across the different ports in the network. So it's important to have your firewall always on and always try to block every single attack that may be coming in through those ports.
That's good. Now, Emilio, you know that having a good legal software is very important because some of these softwares which are out in the market, case management softwares, they do not protect anything because what has happened, the data is out in the cloud and they don't use, proper servers to save the data. And because all this data is stored in the cloud actually. So can you tell me that how important it is to have a proper case management system? Because some of them, lawyers are very good at the law, but they don't have a strong technology background. So it is also important for them that even if they're saving the data in their office on their own computers. And now take an example about a lawyer who told me that he was not very tech savvy and he had all this data saved in the hardware. And one day what happened to this guy? Someone just left the computer there and he took the entire hard drive and took off from the office. So all the data was lost. So bottom line is, folks, as you can understand, you will have to start understanding whether you are secure or no. Because once a lawyer told me, I'm going to keep everything in my drive. But how about if a drive gets stolen? So that's what we do at My Legal Software. We analyze your technology. We research your technology to see how strong you are in data protection. And if someone takes your drive away, you lost all the data. And besides losing it, you are keeping that entire client data at risk. So the data can be protected through different means. Number one, you need to have strong passwords. Number one. Secondly, you need to have firewalls. And in certain cases, you can also have captcha security. So, Emilio, can you talk about what is captcha and the importance of captcha?
Okay, so captcha security is a very important feature that you need to implement in your sites to avoid spam, avoid bots over the internet to send you, fraudulent emails to your inbox, and also protect your staff from receiving these kinds of threats across the computer, across the network. So it is a very important feature to have. It is a additional protection step for
Very good.
for-
That's excellent. So now, as you all can see, that we have a very powerful panel today. We have Mike joining us, who's very good at exactly talking about, the importance of having a good case management software. And people think that I have a website. I'm very happy with my website. I get 30 people visiting my site every day. That means nothing, folks. Especially when you have a website in which you are accepting payments. Be very careful, because you are going to be vulnerable to hacking. And secondly, if you have a website which is having a lot of visitors, you can encounter phishing attacks and your entire website can go down. That's number two. And the third thing is about, there are some websites wherein lawyers allow people to put in case numbers, and through that case numbers, you're getting into that case management software, but you may be compromising on client data security. Can you talk about that, Emilio, a little bit of how important it is to have the proper procedures installed on websites?
Yes. Well, we all know that law firms are a very strong target for cyber criminals because they store clients' data, and having access to that client's data is having access to this client's life. Also, or financial information or legal strategies can also be compromised if they are leaked. So this may lead us to many problems if we don't take security seriously, as clients may end up with having legal measures on us, or we can face different problems when this data is breached. So it is very important. It's very important to have our websites secure. Always keep our passwords strong and change them regularly, and having continually having this two-factor authentication, which is a very important security feature. This means that if someone's trying to log in to our phone, to our account from a different location, we can always check a security code that will be sent to our phone that will authorize our login. If we don't have that, the cyber criminal can have our password, but he will never be able to access our information. So it's important to also configure this two-factor authentication. Almost also every service in the market right now have it. We also offer this service, and it is really recommended to have this two-factor authentication as well to protect our passwords and our accounts with a different and improved security.
Good. Thank you so much. So folks, again, I'm going to repeat, today's topic is cybersecurity for lawyers, which is a burning topic, especially for law firms. I mean, who have to be in compliance. And I don't think so, Rahul, that many law firms are in compliance with the cybersecurity laws, especially because if you're looking at exactly hacking issues, you're looking at the computers being secured, you're looking at the data being secured, you're looking at LAN issues, you're looking at WAN issues, then you're basically looking at cloud issues. So even when data is stored on the cloud, you've got to be careful. Now, take an example, right? If your data is stored in the cloud, and if your client is coming to your office, and if you cannot access the cloud data, your entire data can be jeopardized, because if that cloud company goes out of business or something happens, they don't have a backup plan. Rahul, your thoughts on that? I think
yes, I mean, regarding the issue of whether or not law firms are compliant, I think the American Bar Association, in its 2021 legal technology report, said that about roughly 25% of law firms have had data breaches at some point. This is not an uncommon thing. And a number of those, I think about a third of those, reported that, sensitive client data had actually been accessed by unauthorized people outside the firm. So, this is a very serious threat, and failure to protect your client's data will result in, breaches of your duties of confidentiality to them. It could affect, your legal reputation and, your ethics.
All right. So another report, according to Cybercrime magazine, cybercrime will cost the world 10.5 trillion annually by 2025. This is the Cybercrime magazine report. So what does it mean for lawyers? Now you have a client coming into your door, and after that, you are kind of basically putting up his information on Facebook and everything, putting his name out there. Some people have done that by mistake. Never do that. Rule number one. Never. And I've seen someone, actually, a lawyer, put up a green card of a client with his name, his personal information out there. This is a big, big issue because your social media worker who was working with you, the company that you entrusted, did not know what they were doing. So be very careful when you're working with people who are working with you in basically in your digital marketing world, or putting out your clients' data out there because they don't know the law, and it's not their fault. Of course, my legal software has a division wherein we do, kind of digital marketing, and there are people who have legal backgrounds, who look at the data which goes out to make sure that your client's data is protected. You use the word client and you put it as a successful case so that ethically you are in compliance. The other problem which I've seen, Rahul, is besides the data issue, besides cybersecurity, there are digital marketers out there who are saying that exactly Mr. Swanson is the #1 lawyer in the world. You are jeopardizing your license, folks. You cannot call yourself as the #1 lawyer in the world. So it's better for you to work with digital companies and SEO companies who are kind of legally compliant with what can be said out there. That's very important for you. Now, second important thing, which I feel, is that if you're allowing someone to use basically a web service, and if you're allowing them to put in the case number, make sure that there are adequate firewalls, your proper security, and your proper HTTPs done. And now Emilio is going to explain what is HTTP. Why is an HTTP site very important, Emilio? Can you talk about an HTTP secure site?
Well, HTTP is a secure protocol for your website. This allows us to have a security around all the visitors that are that are access to a website. So this HTTP protocol helps us certificate, helps us to demonstrate that the website is compliant, is real, is legal, and also it is secure, for that all your transactions and information that you share across this website is going to be totally secure. So it's very important to have that certificate as well.
And another thing that people don't know about, which I believe I'm a big believer in it, and we are getting into it because, my legal software is a very advanced legal technology company, and that helps lawyers in every aspect of technology. So anytime it comes to basically web development, when it comes to basically softwares, when it comes to hardwares, we can at least do an analysis and give you a free recommendation as to what you're missing out. Take this particular session very seriously. With due respect to most people out here, you won't find a lot of companies which actually have, talented people working who can really look at your things under a microscope and tell you. Of course, we've been doing a lot of work for people who want us to kind of do the analysis, or we've been doing it with the law firm right now. Actually, that's in Alabama. And they wanted us to look at the entire kind of, of what they can do to grow as lawyers. Another important thing, which might be on a side note here, Rahul, is people have websites, but they do not have an analytics out there. So, the SEO guys are telling them, digital guys are telling them, you have X amount of visitors, but they don't get analytics and they basically get carried away. Just having a website in today's market is nothing. You need to have a good website that gathers business for you. You need to have a website that produces business for you. You need to have a website that is SEO compliant. You need to have a website that is digitally compliant. You need to have a website that is secured. Look at the issues that are coming up. You need to make sure that you have adequate malware protected on your site. If you're using a software, you need to make sure that your client's data is protected. If your data is in the cloud, you need to make sure that you're working with the right cloud servers, which are fully encrypted. Remember the word encryption. Now, Emilio is going to talk about the value of the word encryption because a lot of people in the legal world do not know these terms. And why is it important for a lot of lawyers to know these terms? Emilio, what is encryption and why is it so important in the legal world? I think you're on mute, Emilio.
Oh, sorry. So encryption is a technique that you can use to precisely that. So try to make secure your information with different codes that only you will have to have access to it. This will ensure that if you have a problem with your sensitive data and someone stole it from you, whatever, even if the data is intercepted or stolen, it will be unreadable for the cyber criminal. So you always have access to that across with different passwords or different security settings that you can configure. Now, it's important to also mention that the encryption is present almost in every system. Many people don't know how to use it. Many people think this is like rocket science. It's not very difficult, but it's very important to have it. Almost every system, operating system now, you have Windows, you have Mac, you have free encryption tools. If you have cloud, there are other services that can also help you with that. But it's important to have an encryption just as a second, just in case that your information falls into the wrong hands, you still are protected. You don't lose anything.
That is very important. So therefore, also like people don't know the importance of backup servers. So backup servers can be important. So if you're a big law firm, right, and if you're a mid-sized law firm, what you can do is there was a big law firm that said that, I don't want my data to be anywhere, because they had a client and they wanted to have their sensitive data only protected with a senior partner. So this is just an example. I'm saying, what should the senior partner of a big law firm do in this case? What he can do, there are services out there wherein exactly, they put it on a hard drive, and even if you have 100 clients, they can divide the data in such a way that it can be saved with you personally, and it will not be out in the cloud. So, for example, if you have this client who's crazy that he does not want the data to go out there, you can even buy servers, and then those servers, even if you have 50 clients, you can actually divide the server. There are services out there. We can divide it and you can encrypt the data in such a way that it is super secured, that even if someone even breaks that entire box, and if there are adequate passwords and if there are proper protections, no one will be able to hack that data. So that is the level of data security you can go through for your big clients. And that is very helpful for banks. That is very helpful for high net worth clients. And that's how things should actually be handled. And this is good for mid-sized law firms and big law firms. Now, when you're using your software, and this is where the problem can happen. Take an example, like you have your own software and you give access of your software to a client. And that client may just come in as a fictitious client to you. And you created his case and everything. Somehow he finds a way to hack into entire data. So he can get access to the entire case management software that has all the data with you. So through your password, he can get into your, there are devices. We've seen hackers doing miracles these days. So that is just an example. The chances are very remote, but a good hacker can come in and do a lot of damage to you. So be very careful. Now, the other thing is, let's get back to websites. You have this great website which is performing very well. So recently, how do you test your site? And if you're having a website, first see whether the first thing for a lawyer to do is to see whether his or her website is ADA compliant. That's a no-brainer. How do you know? You can even call us. We can do a test for you. What is ADA? Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, if you have someone who actually is visually impaired, and if he goes on your website and he cannot navigate the site properly, do you know you can be fined? And Rahul will talk about that. Or a lawsuit can be brought against you, and you'll be spending a lot of money to just basically settle the lawsuit, and because you're responsible for attorney's fees. So that's one part of the test. Rahul, talk about that, please.
Yes, so the ADA requires a number of things of websites. For example, as Mr. Gay was saying, if your visitors are visually, basically you have to make reasonable accommodations to ensure that they have access to your site and the information on it. So for example, you have to ensure that the contrast ratios on your site allow people with limited vision rather, to sufficient to read everything on access all of the information. If you have videos and pictures, you may be required to have alternative text that describes what's going on there for people with screen readers who can't navigate the site directly. And as Mr. Gay said, there are an increasing number of suits filed under the ADA against all sorts of companies, and including law firms. And you are responsible if you're found liable for the attorney's fees of the prevailing party. And these fees can be in the thousands of dollars per incident.
And that is very sad to see that those things happen. So now the other thing which I've seen is that people take web security and including the personal security very lightly. Now, a lawyer is just using basically Microsoft Word. He has a basic system. He's not using a software, not doing anything. Again, he's committing a wrong over here, Rahul. And I'll tell you why. He's saving all his files on his desktop over here, on his laptop. Now, he is not cyber secured because if someone gets into his laptop or into his desktop, gets all the data, the name of the client, the data information of the client, what happens over there? He lost the data, and that is a breach of cybersecurity. Look at it, how easy it is for me to explain of how vulnerable people are nowadays to cybersecurity. And now what I would do in this case, Emilio is going to talk about it. Before someone gets into the particular client's folder, what one can actually do, keep it password protected. And for that, again, you need a cyber expert to come in to see how cyber compliant you are and whether your website is compliant, whether case management software is compliant. It's a full 9-yard circle these days. Emilio, your thoughts on that? Yeah, Emilio, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Well, it is important always to have protection, as we already said. We have to be very aware of all the security tools that we have in our hands nowadays. Using proven and up-to-date tools to safeguard our clients' data is essential right now. The solutions vary in different complexity. For example, having a good antivirus, a good antivirus solution, having spam filters, having software firewall, like we already explained, even hardware firewalls. Also, having that's something that was stated before, it's very important, is to limit the access to sensitive information. Only the staff member in your company that require access to sensitive data should have it, and they should be granted with the minimum necessary access. So go inside those days where everyone had access to all information, especially newly hired employees or clients that like Mr. Gehi said, have had access to your system, and they can take that advantage to hack you. So it is important always to limit this access to the specific need to every employee's daily task. So be careful on that. Not information should be shared with everyone. Okay, so take that into consideration too.
The best thing to do is when people try to log on to the system, you can create mechanisms wherein you know who logged on from when and where, and have the IP addresses. That's another way to track a person. So all these things can be, if you are watching this or if you're missing this, you're missing out a lot today, folks. If you're a lawyer, share this video. This is going to be very helpful to lawyers. Now, here is a common list of cyber threats for your knowledge. Very important: cyber terrorism, which everyone knows a terrorist can come in and get data, and that happens with a lot of big institutions. Malware, that's what we spoke about. Threat encompasses ransomware, spyware, viruses, and worms. So once if the virus gets infected, your entire program will be kind of gone. All your data can be lost, and that's why people have problems and they sit with their hands on their head. Where did my data go? The problem is you'll be in trouble because you didn't have a proper backup system. So a backup system is a good answer to a malware. Trojans, like the Trojan horse, that's one of the most difficult things. Which means sometimes you get a file and you feel that you're basically kind of logging on to a file which is kind of common for you to log on. But after you log on, your entire computer blacks out and you lost your data. So be very careful of Trojans. Botnets, I think this is very important, and I think Emilio already spoke about botnets. This is very important. Emilio, talk about botnets again so that people know what are botnets.
Sorry about
botnets. BOTNETs. Botnets.
Botnets.
Yes.
Oh, so these are automatic tools that these cyber criminals use to try to inject different malware to your sites or your computer. So they use different techniques and try. These are also known as brute force attacks that may also compromise because they try with different combinations to try to get into your files. So it is important to have your your site secure if you're talking about a website, and your computer secure if you are talking about your personal computer.
The next one is adware. People have seen this a lot. A lot of lawyers see it when they go on their computer. They see all these advertisements popping up because the problem is that you don't have security, and all these adverts are popping up on your computer, and you don't know what the hell to do about it because you invited a virus to come into your computer, or you allowed someone to allow that. Exactly, the thing is that this is what it is. So be very, very careful about these adverts. It's just that it can become a harassment. SQL injection. See, look at these terms which lawyers don't even know. SQL is structured query language. And this is what it is. attack inserts malicious code into your SQL using server. So MySQL is a server, and your server has to be secured in structured query language. And if it's not properly installed, again, you're inviting hackers to come in. Phishing, we already spoke about. Hackers use false communications in an email to fool the recipient into opening it and following instructions that are different, asking. So hackers will just come in and they'll do phishing attacks. They'll tell you, hey, I'm so and so, I want to become your client. Very often you've received an email sometimes from a person that I have a big contract of $100 million and I'm in the oil industry and I want you to draw up a contract. And a lot of them are coming from different countries, China, Africa, whatnot, Nigeria and other countries. And they say that come in and sign the contract and give me your wire information. The time you give them your information, you're gone. So remember, My Legal Software provides you with this training. My Legal Software can come and help you, and we can do an analysis for you, whether you're cyber compliant, and we can tell you, we can make recommendations to you what you really need. And then you'll have to employ the right people, and that's what you need to do. Be very careful if you're a law firm. Do not take cybersecurity lightly. Be very careful about this. Man in the middle. People might have not even heard about this term man in the middle attack. Now, this involves hackers inserting themselves into a two-person online transaction. That's what I'm talking about. They'll engage you. They'll tell you, okay, let's talk. I'm ready to give you business. Give me your credit card information, or get me information about your this. You can sell me the money. I'll sell you the money. Be very careful. Well, get me your wire information. You don't know these things, folks. Take some training, folks. We can help you with this. A lot of law firms have been contacting us, just inquiring about these issues. Feel free to reach us at mylegalsoftware.com, or you can call 212-390-9493, and they'll be happy to help you. I'm the founder, but I want to make it clear that this information is general in nature, and this has to do nothing with basically my other position with our law firm. This is a separate entity, and right now I'm speaking on behalf of My Legal Software as a disclaimer and as a waiver. I just want to make it very clear that I am the founder of My Legal Software. So the next important thing which I see is denial of service is a cyber attack that floods a network or computer with an overwhelming amount of handshake processes, effectively overloading the system and making it incapable of responding to user requests. So this is very important that you are trying to log on. You're saying you cannot log on because your system is basically telling you, wait. You may be under attack. And this is a denial of service because they're not allowing you to penetrate into your own software to get your work done. So cybersecurity, what measures you can take? Use VPN to privatize your connections. What is a VPN? It's a system wherein you can protect it, as what Emilio said. Can you talk about the VPN process, Emilio?
Yes, well, VPN is a secure network that is a virtual private network that in basic terms, it allows you to protect your connection while protecting also your location, where you're located, by having a secure connection through secure servers, like having like a triple connection without going straight to the point. So you connect to a secure server, the server assigns you an IP, a specific IP, and then you can connect to the correct server, protecting your identity, protecting your computer, protecting your information as well.
Good. So before clicking on link, check the links. That's very important. Always check the link that you want to click on. This is the biggest mistake lawyers do. Do not be lethargic with your passwords. Make sure that your passwords are fully protected. And I tell people, try to use kind of basically symbols, different kinds of symbols to protect your password, like a percentage sign, an exclamation mark with basically a cap, a non-cap, and numbers included. So don't keep easy passwords. That's the message. Scan external devices for viruses. What are external devices? You have another computer that you're networked to. You have a server that you're networked with. You have a printer that you're networked with, which is your copy machine. Make sure that everything is secure. All these have connections, because sometimes when you're sending stuff to your copy machine, it saves the data there. Is your copy machine secured? Not many people think about it really. Because the scanned data can be there, and your data might be there, and someone will just come and print a copy. Make sure that exactly you cannot print a copy over there until there are some technologies where you can even print the last copy that was printed. So don't take those systems. So sometimes they just try to sell you copy machines. Hey, you can even print the last 20 what happened 30 minutes ago. Don't install those systems. Anything is possible in today's market. Be careful when you're selecting your products. So store sensitive information in a secure place, which wherein I said when you're dealing with banks, you're dealing with all these high entities, try to get private servers, like physical servers if you want. And in that, there are companies that can kind of basically make sure that they secure your data in those servers, that even if someone breaks the data, they won't get anything. Enable a two-factor authentication process, which is that double check the HTTPs on your site. Very important. Sometimes when you go on websites, Google is saying that the site is not secured. That is a red alert for you straight up. That is not good, because even Google is telling you that your site is not secured. See, but people take their websites very lightly. Because Google is also telling you that your site is not secured, means that the person who did your website didn't do a good job. Secondly, on a different note,
that also, sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
but that could also cost you clients as well if they're not even able to access your website.
Of course, they can cost you clients. And another thing is that, Rahul, when people Google, right, their web developers and their kind of SEO guys give them a report. Oh, you're on the 6th page of Google. Who's going to look you up on the 6th page of Google? Try to use basically the effective techniques of digital marketing. A lot of people are getting fooled with that. Oh, they are very happy they're on the same. Who's going to go and look at the 6th page of Google? People look at the first page, second page, okay. But digital marketing should be used as an offset. A lot of personal injury law firms should consider this because they need clients all the time. And same thing with immigration firms, bankruptcy firms. And when you Google them, they're on the 9th page of even digital media. Pathetic marketing techniques. Dealing with law firms, it's very important. You need people who are in the legal business to make sure that exactly they know of how to get you business, how to rank you on SEOs, and protect you. All three of them are related, including your website, including your ethical compliance with websites, to make sure that you do not have false and misleading communication on your site. Look at the importance of having a law office company that deals with websites and with kind of legal technology products. Now, surprisingly, I think I read somewhere one of the Ivy Leagues has a program that has started about legal security, law technology. You can see the scope of law technology for the future, folks. And we are already way ahead of the game. We already know what is going on in the market as much as possible. We are not 100%, no one can be 100, but we are keeping up with law office technology. And if anyone has a question, you can contact My Legal Software. You can call them at 212-390-9493. Or you can go on their link on Calendly. You can make an appointment. You can call 212-390-9493. And you can avail the 14-day free trial period. Check the software out, engage, get a brand new website, or get an analysis of your website at least to see whether you are ADA compliant, whether your site is secured. Call them up and they'll be happy to look it up for you. Let's take some questions. How can I optimize my cybersecurity and safeguard my client sensitive information? We can do a free analysis for you. We can look it up to see whether exactly you are cyber compliant or no, and we can get the job done for you. You can call My Legal Software. You can send them an email. Can they easily hack my passwords? Yes, as Emilio said, that you need to make sure that you have proper security. Then exactly it'll be difficult for them to hack it. But even if you're hacked, you need to have a very good backup system to make sure at least you have access to your data. And by the time you can inform your clients to change the passwords or make sure that their data is protected. That's number 2. Which tools can I use to protect my firm? That several kind of tools that you can use in order to kind of protect yourself over that. I've hired new employees recently. Do they represent a risk for a breach, a security breach? Yes, they can be a security breach for you if you haven't done a proper background check and if you don't have the proper tools of the trade in place. I often go do backups of my critical information. Is it a good idea to invest time on it? Make sure that you have a company that monitors you. You can do as much as possible. Unless and until you don't have a third-party kind of company assisting you on a regular basis, you are risking everything from your perspective. So those are some of the important things, folks. My Legal Software can help you with case management software for immigration lawyers and general practice lawyers. They can do a free analysis of your cyber issues, Secondly, we can protect your website. They can look into basically your website is cyber compliant. That's number two. And make sure that exactly you are ADA compliant and whether exactly you're getting the right traffic on your website, whether exactly you're getting enough leads, you're getting enough business, whether basically you need some improvements on your site. Those factors can be looked into. And there's a 14-day free trial for the case management softwares. So anything that you're dealing with law office technology, you can call 212-390-9493. And there's a new number coming in, which is going to be 934 Law Tech. 934 Law Tech will be the new number, which you're going to see very soon. We are getting a lot of questions today, folks. I often do backups of my. No, how do you spot a phishing email? Emilio, how can one spot a phishing email?
Well, first of all, we have to check who is the person who is sending the email. It's very important because sometimes people cyber criminals try to use a well-known name, for example, Outlook, and they copy the exact style as the official Outlook email, but the address, the email address where you're receiving that email, you have to check it because probably it's not from Outlook. And even if it have the same style, the same form, everything, once you click the button and you add your information, it's gonna let you it's gonna log you into your account, but the information is gonna go right into cyber criminal's hands. So always check who is the person that is sending you the email to see if it is an official account.
Let me tell you something, Rahul, what we did in my legal software. Ready for this? We already have a system in place wherein we put in critical data, sensitive data of the client. Only the administrator can see it. But the users, like the other people who are working in the companies, they cannot even see the sensitive data. We have encrypted the data to that extent, already cyber compliance from a software perspective. Not many softwares have even done that. So that's the level of security go to. What steps should be taken when working outside the office? When you're outside the office, number one, you need to make sure that the cloud service that you're using is really good. You can get an analysis done from us. We can look into whether the cloud server is good. Secondly, you need to make sure that you have a properly authenticated password, which is exactly fully secured. That's number two. Number three is never leave your computer open. Number four is make sure that you can have a double password system, or you can also have an eye enabler, wherein the computer recognizes your fingerprinting when you log in. Or you can also have like an eye eye system installed, wherein the computer recognizes your eyes when you log in. So that's how you can kind of do those things in your system. Are these things possible? We can do the entire 9 yards for you. But these are things that a lot of firms are doing. And if you need cyber compliance, you want to check your security, you want to get everything done, it's a one-stop technology company, My Legal Software. But we can take up the entire contract to make sure that exactly you're fully compliant, right from your case management software, right from your website, right from your law office technology. Complete services are being provided by My Legal Software, which is a full-fledged law office technology company. So by the good wishes of all our viewers, the company has kind of branched out into the entire sphere of legal kind of technology and marketing. Do we need to protect our Wi-Fi? Of course, you have to protect your Wi-Fi, because at the end of the day, when you're sitting in your house, your neighbor gets access to your Wi-Fi and he's looking at what you're doing in your house. Simple as that. So go to your friend's house. When you're logging into his Wi-Fi, you're seeing everything that's going on. Emilio, can you talk about the importance of Wi-Fi here?
Well, protect your Wi-Fi is like protect your house. If you have your information, if you give the keys to anyone that comes that might be around to just enter your house, can you imagine what the problem that would be? So yeah, protecting your Wi-Fi with a good password is very it's critical, because anyone outside your house can sit down with a laptop computer and access to all your conversations, all your password, if they have the knowledge, and probably they will have the knowledge to do that. They will get everything that you are doing inside your house. They can even hack your cameras. They can even hack every device that is connected to the internet is vulnerable against this kind of attack. So yeah, please protect your Wi-Fi.
So today's topic was law office technology and cybersecurity. This is meant for Priyanjali and for Ravi. Law office technology, cybersecurity and law office technology are brought to you by My Legal Software, a case management company, a website development company, and a company that can help you with cyber compliance in terms of the legal world. So if there's anything else, we've also worked with other of our associates who can help you with checking your entire kind of cybersecurity, your case management software, as well as your website. Even if you are not getting enough business, we can make sure that exactly we can assist you with kind of with your digital marketing techniques as well as the SEO techniques and making sure you're in compliance. So thank you, folks. This is Attorney Gehi from My Legal Software, founder of My Legal Software, with Rahul Dissa, who's a fantastic legal researcher who is very much focused on law office technology. And very special thanks to Pianjali and to Ravi and to Mike. Mike, is there anything you'd like to say today? All right, so Mike is not in, but at the end of the day, thank you so much for joining us. Our next session, let's put the topic up right now. People are going to love it. It's going to be a discussion on Federal Rule 11, and it's next Thursday. Rule 11, especially wherein lawyers get sanctioned. So what do you need to know about Federal Rule 11 and sanctions from the Federal Code? Brought to you by My Legal Software. That's next week's. There's Federal Rule 11. Rahul, can you type it in the box?
Yes, I will type it.
So Federal Rule 11 is going to be a topic for next week. So thank you, Emilio, for joining us. Thank you, Rahul. So Federal Rule 11 next Thursday. Our next session is going to be next Thursday, same time, same place. And please spread the word. Spread this, share this video with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, everywhere you can. So that's going to be, can you put the date, Rahul? Next Thursday is going to be the 23rd, I believe, 2/23/2023 at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, folks. So if you have any questions about case management softwares, including general practice management or basically immigration case management software, if you're looking at developing your website, or if you want to analyze your website or check your web security or your complete cybersecurity, call 212-390-9493, or you may visit mylegalsoftware.com. Thank you so much. Your final word, Rahul, about cybersecurity.
No, it's a core part of the profession. It's one of your duties. It's actually many of your duties, including competence, confidentiality, communication. All of them intersect with cybersecurity.
Emilio, your final words.
I want to just finish with we need to adapt to the world. We can just stay static. We need to adapt. We need to change. We need to improve. Cybersecurity is a very important. It's a very important topic that we need to talk. We need to let people know. We need to train people. So please take all these advices into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Mike, it's wonderful being with you. We explained the importance of cybersecurity. Mike is always there to help you guys with cybersecurity. If there's anything, he'll be happy to kind of jump in and help us out. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place. And our next session is going to be about Federal Rule 11. Why do courts sanction lawyers? What do they need to know about sanctions? And we're going to discuss about how to avoid sanctions and be fully prepared when you are in federal court. Thank you, everybody.